After the game, interesting comments from a couple of Houston Texans. First off, here's D'Amico Ryans. You know what? I'm glad, counter to what you were saying a moment ago, Joe, that instead of looking at this game and saying, hey, we competed, we hung in there, D'Amico Ryans had this to say about going to Kansas City and playing well defensively, but still losing.
Yeah, I'm walking out of here discouraged. Like, this one hurts, right? Because I know we're a better football team than we showed today, no matter who we're playing against. Like, to go back and still have to talk about mistakes that we made in this moment, like, yeah, it's discouraging to be here because you got to be over that at this point in the playoffs, right? Postseason football, you got to be at your best. You got to be operating on all cylinders. And for us, like, we didn't do that today. So that's what I'm just discouraged about for sure.
But even then, like he says, like they're a better football team. They're not. It's who you are, and I'm with you. I'm glad he is saying that because they all should feel this way. They all should feel discouraged about this result. That you really outplayed the Chiefs for a majority of this football game. I would say, like, I mean, I think for a lot of this game, the Texans were a better football team than the Chiefs.
Ooh. I mean, the final score is the final score. I can't go that far. Will Anderson said this too, and the people who are in Kansas City, this is not me trying to call you out, but whoever has the video or audio of Will Anderson saying this, I can't believe it wasn't posted. Matt Young in the Houston Chronicle is the only person who posted this full quote because I couldn't find it, at least when I was looking on Twitter and X. And maybe it's there. But this is what Will Anderson said, and this kind of goes in with what you were saying, where hey, the Texans were the better team, and I guess D'Amico was saying that in that. I hope he was talking about we're a better team than where we were earlier in the year, but whatever the case, this is Will Anderson after the game, and I could not find this anywhere. Be honest, go back and watch the game. It's what I told y'all earlier this week. It was nothing they did. It was all us, busted assignments, out of place. We can't have that if we want to beat teams like this. Granted, they are a good team. Don't get me wrong, but I felt like we were the better team. But we shot ourselves in the foot again. We have to find some ways to get us over this hump and stop making the same mistakes over and over and over again. You are not the better team if you shoot yourselves in the foot. You're not.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's they were a better team for most of the game, not for all of the game. And I think that this quote is more like what Will Anderson's saying here is more about like the entire game. And because if you keep making these mistakes time and time again, like the Chiefs are not going to make these mistakes. Like they are going to have a nearly perfect operation as a football team. They don't turn the ball over. They don't have a ton of penalties. Like, yes, whatever, their right tackle and left tackle jump off sides or a false starts in every single play and it does not get called. But the Texans, I mean, busted alignments. Like this is training camp stuff. Like what do you mean busted alignments? Like that's what your defense is supposed to be the pride of this team. So he's clearly talking about the defense out there, out of place. How are you out of place at this point in the season? How do you have all these busted alignments happening at this point in the season? How is Travis Kelce getting wide open? Who is, I mean, he looks like he's walking. Like him and Dalton Schultz both look like they're walking out there.
Kelsey's
so slow.
Kelsey's not as fast as he used to be. Hey, do you want to kill yourself? Do you want to kill yourself?
Sure.
All right. Here's an exchange that Travis Kelce had with a Kansas City reporter after the game. Try not to drive off the road or jump off a bridge when you hear this, because as you guys might know, Travis Kelce, guess what? He's dating Taylor Swift, and there's a very popular song that this is a reference to. Travis Kelce after the game.
You feel like you're 25 again?
22, baby, 22.
Xavier Worthy.
He's 22 again.
He's 22 again.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. Everything will be all right if I'm standing next to you. You don't know about me. I'm gonna make you pee. The Texans pee their pants in Kansas City. Damn, I'm a great singer. You can't say you're the better team and lose. You just can't do that. I've seen people doing the discourse today because the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson discourse is out there. And look, Lamar Jackson had a great final drive, and Mark Andrews lost the Ravens that game. But Lamar Jackson had a horrible fumble after saying that I'm not like Teddy Two Gloves. And on top of that, he had an interception. You can't say that Lamar Jackson outplayed Patrick Mahomes this week when Lamar Jackson once again could be winning an MVP and out in the second round of the playoffs. Like, you just can't do it. And if you lose, you got to tip your hat. miss me with this "we are the better team" stuff, Will. And I love Will Anderson, and he played his ass off
Mhm.
in this game. He had a great game. See that one-handed tackle he had in the red zone?
That was incredible.
That roughing call on him, I thought was shaky. Mahomes, who flopped on that play too. You watch the replay again. His head moved in a way that was definitely not from Anderson bumping into him. Sure, there was helmet to helmet. Mahomes still flopped there. Well, Anderson played a great game, but stop. Do not say you are the better team when you lost. It is loser talk to say that. It's much more loser talk to say that than to bitch about the refs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the idea that you're this better team and you're going home in the divisional round again, and then I think to double down like Will Anderson did today, where he said they're right there, we're a fantastic team when he met with the media in the locker room today. It's just I don't fantastic is not a word I would use to describe the Houston Texans after this performance. I don't know why he would use that word. It's you've lost in the divisional round 2 years in a row. You've done nothing to show significant improvement from your first year to your second year as a football team. Now, like Anderson specifically, he's a fantastic player. It's of all the players and people you can blame for this loss, he is nowhere near on that list.
Mhm.
But I'm with you. It's just it is loser talk to be talking about being the better team, especially when like I said, I think they were for part of the game. They were a better football team, but the end result tells you they're not the better team.
But you're see, what you're saying. Yes, there were moments where you're like, "Oh wow,"
Yeah, yeah. It's like they looked like
but
they were going to win this game. It
still
felt
can't
like
say
at
it.
one point, but by the end result, they shot themselves in the foot as they always do, proving thus they're not a better team than the Kansas City Chiefs because you lost.
I do understand what you're saying. I
Yeah.
just like I can't, and I want to co-sign it because there were moments where the defense looked like they were completely unsolvable for the Chiefs, but they figured it out. And guess what? The Chiefs also figured out the Texans' offensive line. The protection wasn't awful the first 2 quarters or so. I mean, there were some bad sacks, but fourth quarter, holy crap!
Oh,
Steve Spagnuolo figured out what the Texans were doing.
unraveled.
Mhm.